Good afternoon. I am Dr. C. Ramakrishna Yoda, Professor and Head of the Department of Civil Engineering. I'd like to introduce engineering science course, namely Introduction to Civil Engineering, as a preface. Let us start with the engineering, the meaning of engineering. Engineering is the use of science and mathematics for appropriate application. Then after understanding engineering, let us understand civil engineering. Civil engineering, as the name itself implies, it is for the civil society. Civil engineering is the professional practice of planning, analysis, design, construction and maintenance of various infrastructural projects. What is infrastructure? Infrastructure is a set of facilities required for the socio-economical development of a society, in particular a state, a country, a globe in general. Infrastructure is a set of facilities required for the socio-economical development of the country. Socio-economical development of a country purely depends upon infrastructures. Infrastructures are of three types, namely hard infrastructure, or structures, physical facility provided. Here we provide physical facilities such as roads, railways, airways, waterways, bridges, tunnels, etc. These are all the physical facilities. Roadways, nowadays we know that it is roadways, road facilities. Good road facilities are the economical boon. Wherever we find the good road facilities, there we can automatically find the socio-economical growth of the country. Roadways, varieties of roads we come across highways of different categories or expressways. Similarly, railways, airways including airfield, airport. Then waterways including the seaports. Seaports means it is there we are going to land the ships and all cargo operating vessels. The bridges which connect, which shortens the communication of road transportation or railway station transportation. A tunnel, again, it is a means of communication to carry or to transport vehicles, to transport water from one side to other side, and so on and so forth. The second type of infrastructure is soft infrastructure, human resource and institutions. Which monitor economy. The soft infrastructures includes financial institutions, government offices, education institutions, law enforcements, Health system is coming under health system. It is hospitals, educational institutions, again finance institutions such as banks, government office, various government offices, educations, varieties of educational institutions, professional, non-professionals, higher and lower education systems, then law enforcement such as and the police forces. And the third infrastructure is critical infrastructure. Critical infrastructure, basically they are all technical infrastructures. Technical infrastructures. Here, technical sophisticated technology is involved in providing technical infrastructures. Sophisticated technology is involved. Technical infrastructures involves networking, cable connection, power supply, and power grid. Then transport system, traffic management system, traffic management and last one is water supply and sanitation. Infrastructure means set of facilities required for the socio-economical development of a society or country or nation or the world. Various infrastructures are broadly classified into three categories, namely hard infrastructure, soft infrastructures and critical infrastructure. Hard infrastructures, there are physical facility providers, namely roads, highways, varieties of highways, railways, then airways, waterways, bridges, tunnels. Here railways, airways, waterways includes both here rails, then here roads, here buses and vehicles. Again in aircrafts, waterways, ships, containers, etc. Again soft infrastructures, the soft infrastructures are human resources and institutions which monitor the economy. So soft infrastructures are health system, financial institutions such as banks, government offices, educational institutions, law enforcements, mainly judiciary and the police force requirements and their infrastructure. Next it is critical infrastructures or technical infrastructures, and here it is sophisticated technologies involved in providing this critical infrastructures. The most commonly using critical infrastructures are networking, cable connection, power supplies and power grid system, then traffic management system and water supply and sanitation. These are all dynamic in nature. Critical infrastructures are dynamical in nature. Instantaneously within short duration of time it is possible to provide this infrastructural facility wherever its requirements arises. We have seen varieties of these infrastructures. Civil engineering plays a vital role in providing all these infrastructures. The stakeholders should know about all these varieties of infrastructures in order to inculcate or in order to understand the various infrastructures involved. Students, society, industry, these infrastructural facilities are included in Introduction Civil Engineering course. Every engineer, irrespective of the stream of engineering, should understand, should know about these infrastructural facilities. A car owner should know at least driving rather than car manufacturing. Likewise, a road user or infrastructure users should know about the infrastructures rather than constructing road. That's what this infrastructure facility included in Introduction to Civil Engineering. These infrastructure facilities related topics you are going to study in first and second module of Introduction of Civil Engineering. And to facilitate all these facilities, some of the specializations they are going to introduce, namely In order to prepare planning and to prepare the map, we use surveying specialization, and to study the movement of water and for store the water and construction of dam and all, it is taken care by hydraulics and water resource engineering. Different types of foundation required depends upon the type of soil will be dealt by the geotechnical engineering. Design, construction and maintenance of various structure and structural elements will be carried out by structural engineering. Road requirements, railway requirements and construction maintenance and usage of these facilities are handled by transportation engineering. The quality of water and wastewater and its use and disposal is again presented by the water supply and sanitation engineering in the name of in terms of environmental engineering. And all these specialized topics will be introduced to you in brief for a better understanding, and later this can be used, this concept will be used whenever you use these infrastructural facilities. Apart from these infrastructural facilities, you are going to introduce a magic word called engineering mechanics in third, fourth and fifth module. Engineering mechanics is a physical science which deals with the condition of rest or motion of a body or element of infrastructure. Here you are going to learn the force, system of force, types of forces, then equilibrium condition, resultant, composition of force, resolution of force and so on. In addition to these, before understanding force and their auxiliaries, you are going to ideal condition. The most commonly coming across idealization terminologies are a point force, rigid body, particle and so on. In addition to these, you will also learn the centroid and center of gravity and moment of inertia. All these concepts, engineering mechanics concept, irrespective of the type of, irrespective of the, you will use in your day-to-day engineering life, and it will be there, it should be there in your in your concept memorized, and it should be there in your memory till last engineering life. And it is a easy subject, very interesting, important and a scoring subject in the examination. Various specialized faculty will handle this subject. Thank you for your patient listening. Wish you all the best.
Hello everyone. My name is Dr. Avinash Karnale. I am working as Associate Professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. Today here I am going to take up the first module in the subject called as Introduction to Civil Engineering. So this subject, it is there for the first year civil engineering students, first year engineering students. It is common for many different branches in the BTU. In that particularly, I will be concentrating on the first module, which is Introduction. In the Introduction chapter, I am basically going to cover these 4 different topics, that is introduction about the subject and the civil engineering, and we will be discussing about the different disciplines in the civil engineering. Then the next 2 topics, that is the materials of the constructions and the different structural elements of a building. So these are the 4 different topics I am going to discuss in the entire module. So today I will be concentrating on the introduction part, that is introduction to the civil engineering. So what is civil engineering first of all? what is meant by civil engineering? Civil engineering, it is basically an art. It is an art of utilizing the natural resources for the purpose of human habitation. For example, let me see, if I want to construct a house for the residential purpose, then what all are the different materials I am required? So basically I need many different construction materials, like either it may be stones, it may be wood, or it may be bricks, cement, sand. So many of these construction materials, they are naturally available. So I am basically utilizing the naturally available materials. Apart from naturally available, we are also making use of some of the manufactured materials, like either it may be a cement, or it may be a concrete, or it may be a steel, which are again manufactured from the naturally available material. So basically civil engineering, it is an art. So where we are utilizing the natural resources for the human purposes, like it may be a residential purpose, or it may be a water consumption purpose, it may be any other industrial purpose. So basically we are constructing the things for the purpose of human aspects. So now why do we need a civil engineer? That is the next thing. Why a civil engineer is required? Can't we do all these things without a civil engineer? Do you really think a civil engineer is required? So if you ask me, my question is yes, we need a civil engineer. Without civil engineer, we cannot go for the any construction activity. The reason is, if you want to construct any structure, either it may be a residential structure, it may be a building, or it may be a commercial building, or it may be a dam, or it may be a bridge, or it may be a railways, or it may be a roads, anything, any construction. So any construction activity involves many different activities. It is not only one simple job, it involves many different activities. Like for example, if I want to construct a building, then what all are the different roles or the responsibilities or activities we need to perform. Starting from the surveying, and we need to go for the planning of the building, execution, finishing, like that there are many different types of the activities it has involved. So without an engineer, it is very difficult for any construction activity to do. Even though a civil engineer, a common man also can do the things, but it will not be economic, and those construction or those things will be not performed economically. To achieve the economy in any construction activity, the role of a civil engineer is very, very, very important. Without a civil engineer, we cannot do the things properly. See, for example, so whenever I want to construct an school building or a college building or an institution building, then we should know what are the basic requirements in that buildings, so that a civil engineer can do the planning properly based on the requirements, then we can execute the things. If we are not a civil engineer, then we will be not knowing that what are the basic requirements in a buildings. Then the planning, execution, it will become a very, very difficult time. Then even those kind of buildings cannot be used, they will not be functioning properly. Right. Now, if I move on to the next topic, that is, what are the different disciplines in the civil engineering? What are the different disciplines in civil engineering? So, there are many different disciplines, or you can say there are fields in the civil engineering. It depends majorly on the type of construction activity. Here I would like to take an example of a building construction, and we will be discussing the different fields in the civil engineering. So, if I want to construct a building, basically a residential building, then it involves many different steps. The first step is, so whenever we want to construct a building or any structure, the first duty is we should know how much area is available for the construction. So, the measurement of the land or the measurement of the area available, either it may be a residential building or it may be any kind of buildings. So, wherever we are constructing a building, first is we should know how much is the area available. So, the measurement of the area, it is deals basically with the field called as surveying. The first field or the first discipline in the civil engineering is this called as the surveying. Surveying, it is basically the first duty or the first job in any of the construction activity, where we will be measuring the area. It is basically a horizontal or the measurement of the ground or measurement of the land which is available for the construction area. The one who is dealing with all these kind of measurements of the land and putting the entire land or the entire area on a paper, it is the job of a surveyor. So, this is the first branch or the first field in the civil engineering, surveying. Surveying basically, as I said, it is deals with the measurements of the land. Then the second the second branch in the or second field in the civil engineering is architecture. Now, architecture or architect is the person who basically plans the different components in the building. For example, as I said, if I want to construct a residential building, then I should be knowing that where are the different components of a residential building. That is, in a residential components, like we need bedrooms, we need the living area, we need kitchen, we need bathrooms, we need puja rooms. So, all these are the different components in a residential building. So, the architect is the one who fix all these components of a building in the available area. So, nowadays this architecture has got a more importance. That is why now instead of being a part of civil engineering architecture, now architecture has taken a importance role and it is made as a different branch as a architectural engineering, though it is basically a part of the civil engineering. So, surveying is the measurement of the land and the architect. So, within that available land is architect is going to fix the different components of the building. So, after this architect, the next important field in the civil engineering is, it is the structural engineering. Structural engineering. Structural engineering is the one of the main component or the main branch in the civil engineering where the entire structure is going to stand on the structural component of the building. See, for example, if I take any building, in any building the structural components are like foundations, columns, beams, slab. So all these are the structural components, and these are the important components in the building which carry the load, or I can say which transfers the load from super structure to the substructure. That is ultimately whatever the load of the building we have, so that load is going to transfer to the ground through these components. So designing these components will be done by a structural engineering. That is, the structural engineer is the one who is going to decide what should be the geometrical dimensions, like what should be the sizes of the beams, columns, slab and the foundations, and he is going to decide what should be the percentage of reinforcement we need to provide in the beams and columns, also in the slabs and the footings. So we can say this is the bones in the body which takes the entire load. So the structural engineer is the most important role in any structure, as he is the one who decides whether a building is safe or unsafe for the superimposed loads. Okay. So after the structural engineering, then the next one is the geotechnical engineering. See, the role of the geotechnical engineering in the civil is very, very important, because all the structures which we construct in the civil engineering, all those are standing on the soil or on the ground. So how the soil reacts when we construct the structures is a most important thing we should know, because as we all know that in the world, at every area, in every different locations, the soil is of a different kind, and these soils, they behave differently for many different reasons. So for example, if you take a black cotton soil, the expansion and contraction of the black cotton soil is very huge. So we cannot construct the structures in the black cotton soils very easily. We need to treat the soils. So the one who deals with the behavior of the soils in the different localities and during different seasons, so is the geotechnical engineering. And whenever we are constructing these buildings on these structures, so the buildings has got the weight. So this weight ultimately we need to transfer it to the ground. So whenever we are transferring the loads to the ground, the soil has its a capacity called as load bearing or safe bearing capacity. So how much is the safe bearing capacity of the soil, how much load it can transfer or it can withstand from the superstructure, it is the one who decides, the geotechnical engineer. So geotechnical engineer, they will conduct the many different investigations on the soil, and finally they will come out with what will be the safe bearing capacity of the soil. So based on the safe bearing capacity of the soil, so a structural engineer will design the foundation part of the any structure. Okay. The next field is the hydraulics and water resources engineering. The fifth field is hydraulics and water resource engineering. So this is a little bit a different field in the civil engineering. So where we will be dealing with the water. See, whenever we have a residential community or an industrial area, so either to the residential community or to the industrial area, we need to supply the water. So whenever we are supplying the water to a community or to a city or to a village, so there are many different steps involved. Like first of all, whenever we are supplying water to some area, there should be some source of water. When we have some source of water, then only we can supply the water to the a community or to an industry. Now, for example, if I am supplying water to the Bangalore, which is situated in the Karnataka state, so what is the source of the water for the Bangalore city? So, the source of the source for the water supply of the Bangalore city is the Kaveri river. So, when I have a source, then from the source I need to transfer the water to the Bangalore city, which is somewhere around, I think as an around 80 or 90 kilometers away from the Bangalore city. So, I need to transfer or I need to carry the water from Kaveri river to the Bangalore city, which is around 80 kilometers away. So, a lot of structures are required. So, the one who is dealing with all these things like calculating the water requirement of the Bangalore and taking that water from the Kaveri river to the Bangalore. So, the one who is going to decide is the hydraulics or the water resources engineer. So, they will be calculating what will be the per capita demand, then what is the total requirement of the water for a city per day. So, based on that they will be constructing the different structures, pipelines, they will be designing the pipelines and all those things. Then they will be carrying the water from source to the cities. So, the one who is going to deal with all these things is the hydraulics or water resources engineering. Then the next one is the transportation engineering. The sixth one is transportation engineering. Right. Okay. When it comes to the transportation engineering, this is the one who is dealing with the transportation of the goods and men. So, basically there are 4 different modes of the transportation. The first one is the roadways, second one is the railways, and the third one is the waterways, and the fourth one is the airways. So, the cheapest mode of transportation is, as of now, it is waterways, but the waterways is not available everywhere, it is available only in the coastal areas. Whereas the roadways and railways, it is the most common mode of transportation, and the airways is one of the costliest mode of transportation. So, usually people prefer either the roadways and the railways. So, the one who is basically designing the different modes of the transportation is the transportation engineering. See, if I have a transportation, if I need to transport some goods or some humans from one place to the another place, for example, if I am transporting the things from Bangalore to Mumbai, then I basically need the roadways, or I am basically using the roadways. So, whenever I am using the roadways, what are the different components or the different kind of infrastructure I need? Basically, I need the roads. Then wherever there are obstructions, I may need to go for the construction of the bridges. Then if I am transporting the things by vehicles, then I need this different station, like it may be bus stations or it may be any other kind, different types of the structures I need. So, the one who is going to decide all these things, what should be the width of the road, what should be the speed we need to maintain, all those things. So, the transportation engineer is the one who is basically designs or who is basically deals with the transportation of the vehicles by any means, right. So, the next one is the environmental engineering. The next discipline or the field in the civil engineering is environmental engineering. So, these are the this is a discipline or this is a branch which basically deals with how to maintain the good environment. See, whenever we do construct these structures, especially industrial structures, so there is a lot of pollution happens to the environment. So, how to control the pollution because of the different structures which we are constructing. So, as I just now mentioned transportation engineering, So as we have the good transportation systems, then obviously the movement of the vehicle will be more, which in turn affect the environment. So the environmental engineering, the branch where they will be dealing with the environmental issues. So because of any construction activity which is going to happen or is happening, so the environment should not get affected to greater extent. So without affecting the environmental, we cannot go for the construction. There will be some harm to the environment, but up to what extent, up to what limit we can harm, that is the dealing with the environmental engineering. So apart from this industrial, these are the people who are going to deal with the waste water or the wastages what we are producing every day from our residential houses. So the wastages what we produce from our houses, they will be dealing with how to mitigate all these things, how to control the wastages, or how to treat the waste waters without, before letting them into the natural streams or in the nature. Then the next one is the construction planning and project management. Construction planning and project management. So this is nowadays one of the most popular branch in the civil engineering. So where we have the most important things, because if you don't plan our construction activity properly, then obviously it will get delayed. So whenever there is a delay, or if the things will not happen properly in the construction activity, then obviously it affects the cost of the entire project. So before starting with any project, either it may be a small residential building, or it may be a big highway, or it may be any metro construction, or it may be any industry construction. So before starting with any construction activity, we should know when will be the probable the finishing of the work. Then only we can plan all the different activities, starting from planning, excavation, execution, then finishing. We can plan all the different construction activities in any project work. If you don't plan, then as I mentioned, the cost will get escalated, and the total cost of the project will be very, very huge, which will be a loss to the owner of the project. So we have to plan the projects very properly. The one who is dealing with the different activities, or who is controlling the different activities in the any project work, is the construction manager, or you can say the planning and project manager. So these are basically the few important fields in the civil engineering, which are the most important things. Without all these, without the knowledge of all these different fields, it is very difficult for us to understand what is the civil engineering. Okay. The next topic, it will be the different construction materials in the civil engineering, which we will discuss in the next session. Thank you.